Does English have any of the same vowel sounds as your language? Most likely, yes. Well, kind of. Let's take a look at three major possibilities. Hey guys, this is Jeff with Fluent American checking in again. And again, we're going to be talking about vowel sounds that occur in English that also occur in many other languages. And there's specifically three that we're going to be looking at. Now, something that we're going to be repeating a lot is a topic called placement. The biggest difference between these vowel sounds in American English and in your language or in other languages is that, again, in English, the placement is going to tend to be much more relaxed and lower. So remember, you want your throat to be very wide, open, and relaxed, and letting as much air through as possible. Some things that can help with this, again, try to project from your throat and also imagine that your throat's as wide as possible. Lastly, like we mentioned before, it can be helpful to even lower your pitch a little bit so that way it can just make the sound a little bit deeper and a little bit richer. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Here's a sound that you also want to consider, the oo sound. Ooh, for instance, like in a word like tooth, tooth. Now again, lots of languages have this, but English is its own unique way of doing it. Again, what you're doing is you're raising the back of your tongue, lowering the front of your tongue down, okay, and you want to have small, round lips, but nothing again too tense. It should not sound like ooh, ooh, because that's very tense, and like I can feel that more in my jaw and even my lips. It's a little bit too forceful. You again want the sound to come from a lower place and a lot more relaxed. It's like ooh, ooh. So again, it's not ooh, it's more ooh, ooh. Let's do some example words. Again, first word tense, then more relaxed. Tooth versus tooth. Tooth versus tooth. Boot versus boot. Boot versus boot. News versus news. News versus news. Hey guys, if you're finding these exercises helpful, you can get daily practice just like this in our Telegram group. If you want to get daily corrections, visit patreon.com/fluentamerican. The long I sound is another possibility. It's this E sound, E, for instance, in a word like seat, seat. To make the long I in English, key things that you'll want to consider: the back, mid-back of your tongue is going to be pretty high, but the front and the very back of your tongue will be down. Now, the biggest difference most likely between this sound in English and in your language is that, again, the placement is going to be very low. You want to feel this more in your throat, and it's going to be more relaxed. If you get an E sound, E, E, then that's just going to be too tense. You're raising that middle of your tongue too high, and you may even be making contact with the top of your mouth. And in English, that is not necessary. Lower your tongue a little bit and lower the placement deeper in your throat and make your tongue more relaxed as well as your throat more relaxed too. And again, it should sound like E, E. Take a look at these comparisons. See if you're saying these words too tense by comparing them to the more relaxed version. Seat versus seat. Seat versus seat. Reach versus reach. Reach versus reach. These versus these. These versus these. The last English vowel sound that may exist in your language is this ah sound. Ah, for instance, like in stop, stop. Again, like we've mentioned before, you want to make sure that your placement is low enough in your throat. You also want to make sure you're holding the vowel long enough. So again, in a word like stop, stop, making sure that it's relaxed enough, it's not going to be pronounced as stall, stall. If you have more British English training or you just haven't studied pronunciation for American English very much, there is a very good tendency for students to have more of this all type sound as opposed to an ah type sound. So just make sure again that it's relaxed enough and enough air is coming through. Let's do some comparisons. Stop versus stop. Stop versus stop. Watch versus watch. Watch versus watch. Modern versus modern. Modern versus modern. So again, between this E sound, this U sound, and this Ah sound, there's a very good chance that your language has a version of these, but just keep in mind the placement in English is pretty